I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please join us for this Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Howard, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Amiditz?
Here.
Mrs. Buckley?
Here.
Dr. Campbell?
Here.
Mrs. Cook?
Here.
Mrs. Dobus? Mr. Means?
Present.
Mrs. Rule?
Here.
Mr. Schubel?
Present.
Mr. Spicuzza?
Present.
We have 8 members present this evening.
Thank you. And we're going to begin the meeting with a presentation. More presentations.
2, actually. As you might recall, in previous years, the district presented Keystone Achievement Awards on behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Education to our schools that made adequate yearly progress, better known as AYP, on the PSSA exams for 2 consecutive years. Recently, those awards have been replaced with the Governor's Award for Excellence in Academics, which is presented to those schools which earned a score of 90% or higher on the 2013-14 school performance profile. This score is based on multiple measures of student academic achievement, including academic growth, performance on the PSSAs, attendance rates, and other measures of a school's academic health. The Bethel Park School District as a whole earned a score of 89.9, which is significantly higher than the county average of 79.1 and the state average of 78.9. Leading the way for Bethel Park were Neil Armstrong Middle School, which earned a whopping 93.2, and George Washington Elementary School, which earned a score of 94.5. They are among the 428 schools in Pennsylvania to earn this award. We're extremely proud of Neil Armstrong Principal Michael Brookie and Washington Principal Fred Pearson, and we are glad to honor them this evening to publicly accept their awards. On behalf of the Pennsylvania Department of Education and the Bethel Park School District, it's my privilege to be able to present this evening the Governor's Award for Excellence in Academics to Neil Armstrong Middle School and George Washington Elementary School, which includes a proclamation from the Governor and a banner to proudly display in their schools. Will both Mr. Brookie and Mr. Pearson join Mrs. Cook and myself at the podium at this time? We're extremely proud of your leadership as well as your commitment to excellence for your staff and your students. It's evident that your schools work very, very hard in achieving this well-deserved recognition. Would you join us, please?
Very impressive.
Shall I read the proclamation? Okay. All right, the proclamation reads, from the Governor's Office, a proclamation, the Governor's Award for Excellence in Academics, May 2014. Whereas the citizens of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania would like to congratulate George Washington Elementary School in the Bethel Park School District in Allegheny County for achieving exceptional student academic achievement during the 2012-13 school year. And whereas the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is committed to ensuring every student receives an exceptional educational experience that prepares them for success in the workforce, the military, or post-secondary education. And whereas on the 2012-13 school performance profile, George Washington Elementary School earned a score of 94.5%, which is based on multiple measures of student academic achievement, including academic growth, performance on the Pennsylvania system of school assessment, attendance rate, and other measures of a school's academic health. Whereas this school will serve as a role model to its peers across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for its ability to showcase what can be achieved when quality educational programs, enthusiastic teachers and staff, dedicated administrators, parents, and supportive community come together on behalf of students. Therefore, I, Tom Corbett, Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, do hereby present George Washington Elementary School with the Governor's Award for Excellence in Academics. It's my honor to recognize the academic achievements being made in countless classrooms. across the Commonwealth. And it is signed Tom Corbett. We have a similar proclamation for Mr. Brookie, and it states pretty much the same language except for the 93.2% based on the multiple measures in the Neil Armstrong Middle School. And we are so proud of you as well, Michael, and of your staff and your students. Go in the middle.
Open up one of those banners.
Yeah, which hand do we use? Oh, I thought it went the other way. I thought it went the other way.
Squeeze in, Russ, you can get in the picture.
I always get the like half the shot. Behind the back. Pretty good.
They took the picture.
Oh, you're kidding.
Nice banners. Very colorful. You could take full middle. Okay.
Tremendous, just tremendous.
Nice way to start the meeting. I will also address one more thing before I adopt the agenda, or have the agenda adoption. The board was given the ALS challenge by Bill Wells, our Federation president, and I just wanted to publicly announce that the board will be making the $100 donation to ALS. So now I need an intent to adopt the agenda for business items.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 8-0. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of June 24th, 2014, and the business meeting of August 5th, 2014.
So moved.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 8-0. I need to announce executive session held August 5th, 2014 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information, and August 19th, 2014 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. Staff report, and Dr. Starr? No? Yes. No staff report? None tonight. Okay. And student government. There is a student government person here. I'm sorry.
I just have something quick.
Welcome back.
Hi. So yeah, we're almost done with homecoming actually. We just have to get a few things approved and the decorations of everything else, of course. Besides that, we're ready to go back to school. We're ready to get some real work done. Yeah.
Would you please introduce yourself again to the
Oh,
board?
I'm Harrison Zelt. I am the senior school board representative. Yeah.
Thanks, Harrison.
Thank you.
Thanks. PTO council, probably not up and running yet. Solicitors report, you're still here.
Yeah, I'm still here. I've submitted a written report.
Thank you, sir. We didn't have any committee meetings because we were basically off the month of July, unbeknownst to Mr. Spicuzza, but it wasn't until August that we met again.
Well, maybe it was just me that was here.
It was just you that was here in July.
It was a quick
Any
meeting.
public comments on agenda items this evening? Seeing none, we'll move into business items, curriculum committee, and Mrs. Buckley.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. There are 3 items this evening under curriculum. Would like any of those held out?
I would like number 3.
Okay.
I don't want any held out, but when it gets to the questions, I'll ask them. Sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, after we move them. Okay.
All right. I move number 1, the purchase of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt HMH Collections 2015 Common Core Assessment to the student editions for the Independence Middle School. And number 2, the PAETEP by EduLink Annual Licensing Agreement.
Second.
Items 1 and 2 under curriculum committee have been moved by Mrs. Buckley and seconded by Mr. Spicuzza. Any questions or comments on either of these items?
Questions. I have a couple questions on number 1. we just purchased the Chromebooks, and the Chromebooks are going over into IMS. They're gonna have them all. So how does this fit in with the Chromebooks? Does it work? Is it separate from the Chromebooks? Could it be gotten online? Have we gotten this online? So could you explain that?
Currently, Mr. Emmett, they're not available online. It is a hope of the book vendor to have those shortly. One of the reasons why we're purchasing this is our data indicates some strategic areas of weakness in some of our writing English pieces at the 7th and 8th grade. We purchased the series going forward with the high school in relation to the keystone that comes up in the literature. This is kind of the feed-in to see exactly where we are in alignment with the core standards, and it's not something that would be less expensive with the Chromebooks, and it's not available quite yet electronically, though I anticipate that if we move forward with a full adoption at IMS, the items would be available online for us for purchase for next year.
So it wouldn't come free of charge
No.
either way? So we
Oh,
would
no.
still have to pay. And maybe, okay, and I was just wondering about that. I was just wondering why we're doing that, and that's good. That's fine with me.
I noticed that it's just 2 classroom sets, so I'm assuming there's going to be sharing between.
It's going to be
teams and
shared,
classes.
and with the core standards, we're really doing a diligent effort to find resources that fit the needs of some of the questioning that we are exploring. And this particular item, when we were reviewing it, we felt that we could get a good idea of whether or not it's something that we want to fully invest in, or if we feel that we can use those as resources, but then also find supplementals.
And how soon will you know if they're going to have an impact on those testing scores in those weeks?
Not until the spring, unfortunately, because we don't take the PSSA until the spring,
And you'll know right after those tests if they have?
whenever we get the
Quickly?
scores back.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, it's, you know, what we could get, and we usually do after the spring testing, is ask the kids informally, you know, did you feel prepared? Were there any questions that you felt were very hard? You know, those kind of questions, just to see how the comfort levels of the kids when they are assessed. But we won't actually know if it made an impact until we get the scores back. And unfortunately, it's another one of those situations where they're changing the test this year. So to look at what our test scores were previous to this year, and then what the spring test, it's a whole different test, so it's apples and oranges.
How was it decided what team would take part in this pilot?
Teacher volunteer. And the team is getting the items, but as Mrs. Rose said, there would be some sharing that would go on with the others as well.
What is the status of the Common Core implementation in Pennsylvania? They've only implemented it for a couple subjects, correct?
The status of the core standards in Pennsylvania is right now it's math, English, and reading, or where the core standards have been adopted. So that's right now where we're at.
So does this program here address those 3 particular things? Or is
It
more extensive?
addresses the English strand, the reading and writing.
Any other questions on those 2 items?
Not on one, I had one on number 2. I was just wondering then, for this EduLink, for the portal, what exactly is it going to look at in reference to the teacher evaluations? What is this going to be able to do then?
Actually, it's the structure that the principals use to post the evidence. It's the structure that the teachers use to respond to the principal's comments about the observation. It's a very complex back and forth process where all of the information is then housed online, and at the end of the process, which is very much collaborative, teachers submit evidence, principals submit responses, principals do observation, teachers reflect. All this is written and encapsulated in a file online, and then at the end there's a 20 to 30 page report about everything that took place between the principal and the teacher, which is far superior to what we've known in the past, with the previous observation approach that we've had. So there's a lot of information where it's warehoused online indefinitely, and we have backup copies here in the district, and it's really an abundance of information.
The final product of all this, is it going to be in a format that will be readily accessible, or do we have to keep using the software forever to access the records?
Well, we're actually open to looking at any other vendor. PAETEP was one of the first vendors to have a really complete product at a very marginal, moderate price, I would say. Now there are other vendors coming into the picture. We're going to be looking at those. We've gone to the effort of creating a warehousing on our own servers so that we're downloading them from the PAETEP site and keeping them on our own servers also, so that we have a permanent record that doesn't depend on the vendor. It's possible we may stay with them, but it's possible we may find something better and cheaper.
So the question was, the final product is going to be in something like a PDF file or something that's
Yes.
readily readable?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? All in favor of items 1 and 2 under Curriculum Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 8-0. Mrs. Buckley.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. And number 3 is I move the professional development.
Second.
Item number 3 under Curriculum Committee has been moved by Mrs. Buckley and seconded by, was that Mr. Amidits?
That would be me.
Mr. Amidits. Any questions or comments on this item? I had it held out because I had a couple, few questions and comments. One, in my notes here, the estimated cost above was $3,400, and below it says the $400 registration fee will be taken from professional development account. Was that supposed to be $3,400 registration fee, lodging, meals, and mileage, or is it $400? Okay, so we're only paying $400 of it? I see.
We've also discovered since that a number of the meals are already included in that total package. So her personal expenditures that were included in that $3,400 may be less, significantly less.
Okay, so where, besides the $400 coming from professional development account, where is the roughly $3,000 coming from?
Lori?
I beg pardon? Okay, and my concern is this appears to be, I didn't look at all the dates, but some of these dates are in-school dates. They're not like weekends or so there's going to be time away from directly the job. So this is similar to sending an administrator or a teacher to a class.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
When we send a teacher or an administrator to a class and we pay for the credit hours per se, we have that administrator or teacher verify that they will be staying in the district for X number of years, and or a percentage is paid back from the class or the credits.
When they're getting actual credits for it, but I don't know that they're getting any actual college credits, so that might be something that we want to look at in terms of how this applies. This is considered more of a staff development opportunity, like a workshop or conference,
Okay.
that will benefit the district.
I re-
Typically for a class also, there are a certain number of credits that we require the teacher or the administrator to pay for the first so many credits as well, under the teacher's agreement, not under Act 93.
Mrs. Cook, it would be comparable to some of our administrators attending NISL training, the National Institute of Leadership. So it's a package of professional development sessions that lead to a greater understanding and a deeper knowledge base of the position in which they hold within the district.
I'm also assuming that they're going to apply Act 48 credits, which our administrators have to acquire in order to maintain their certification, so this is one more way of getting it.
The additional information that we have here as far as the training series and how it's designed, I think there's a lot of good things going on there, and I'm glad that you would be able to attend. It's just the number of days out of the district and the cost, that's what caught my attention, as well as the positive sides of it.
Any other questions or comments on this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 8-0. Personnel Committee and Mrs. Rule.
Okay, there are 6 items under personnel. Does anyone want to hold any out? If not, I move that we approve items 1 through 6, 1 being approval of substitutes, 2, approval of extra duty responsibility program, 3, appointment of personnel, 4, change of assignment, 5, acceptance of resignation, and 6, approval of staffing changes.
I need a second.
Second.
Items 1 through 6 under personnel have been moved by Mrs. Rule and seconded by Mr. Means. Any questions or comments on any of these items? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 8-0. Facilities and Service Committee and Mr. Spicuzza.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. There are 3 items under Facilities and Services this evening. Would anyone like any of them held out separately? Seeing none, I would move the following 3 items. Item number 1, purchase of carpeting for the William Penn Elementary School. Item number 2, the approval of the door replacement for Franklin Elementary. And item number 3, Plan Con J.
Second.
Thank you. Items 1 through 3 under Facilities and Services Committee have been moved by Mr. Spicuzza and seconded by Mr. Means. Any questions or comments on any of these items?
I have a question from Mr. Howard. What is the condition of the carpeting at West Penn School? William Penn, I mean. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
What is the condition of the carpeting at William Penn?
The condition is poor. It's probably over 15 to 20 years old. We don't know. We never could figure out the exact date it was installed. And, has tears and rips and various stains. Some of it's falling apart.
Yeah, I'm aware of that. I just wanted to be stated for the record, so.
Mrs. Cook, could I also ask Mr. Howard to comment on Plan Con Part J so that you could fill in the public?
Sure. As part of every Plan Con project, there's Plan Con Forms A through J. J is the last form that we have to submit to the Pennsylvania Department of Education. Normally, we don't submit that till we get H approval. H approval gives us our temporary reimbursement amount for the high school. We have not received H yet, but through conversations and required filing times, we wanted to make sure that we got J in. So we contacted the Pennsylvania Department of Education and the Department of Plan Con, and they will accept our Plan Con J before H is approved. So we're able to submit Plan Con J. Plan Con J is the final accounting for the project, and this will finalize everything we need to do to get our reimbursement whenever those funds become available at the state level.
So that means that there's no imminent pay date for that.
We have not been notified of any pay date yet for our reimbursement.
And could you give
Checks
us the
in the mail.
approximate figure of what that payday we are waiting for?
I think we're about 6 years. This is our 6th year.
And more importantly, can you qualify?
So right around $2 million.
Yeah, $2 million.
Yeah. So I mean, if we don't receive it by the end of the next year, it'll be closer to $2.4 million.
But we're getting closer.
Closer.
We're getting closer. Any other questions on Facilities and Services items? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 8-0. Finance Committee and Dr. Campbell.
Thank you, Madam President. There are 9 items presented to the board from the Finance Committee. Would any of the board members desire one of the items held out? Seeing and hearing none, I move that item 1, July and August 2014 salaries and bills. Number 2, June 2014 financial report. Number 3, July 2014 financial report. Number 4, approval of projection screen for the Independence Middle School. Number 5, awarding of the musical instrument bid. Number 6, approval of the student services contract. Number 7, approval of out-of-district special education students, the cross-district agreement. Number 8, approval of the purchase of information technology equipment. And number 9, approval of PA educator contract be entertained.
Second.
Items 1 through 9 under Finance have been moved by Dr. Campbell and seconded by Mr. Spacuzza. Any questions or comments on these items?
Just one on number 7 for me. What is the rate that we are charging the students for this agreement? For number 7, the
cross-district
out-of-district
agreement.
Laura, do you have that?
I don't have the exact figure with me, but there's a calculation that the business office calculates based on the per pupil tuition, the special ed tuition, and the paraeducator costs. So it combines depending on what the student needs.
Okay.
It's in addition to those.
And the student weighting on top of everything. Okay, thank you.
I have a question on number 5. Most of the students buy their own instruments, so what is the actual cost under number 5 for?
Well, I can tell you that I know for a fact that we house a lot of instruments for the students at the building level too. You guys can add to that, but I know from in past years from being on the board that we purchase instruments.
The smaller instruments often are rented, and the students have them, but the district actually has a full ensemble of musical instruments that we maintain within the district, especially when you get to the high school level. You have a lot of the instruments that are too large to move, you know, so the kids, we have them in-house. And then this also would include, you know, some of the things that we do at the elementary. We have a cycle that we're trying to stay on top of replacing older instruments at the high school, and then if the instruments are still in good working condition, they get kind of hand-me-down to some of our other buildings.
Okay, thank you.
I just had a question on number 9. I don't recall, have we always had to pay PA educator? I mean, I know that we use the site to, that's been an annual cost to us to use that as a clearinghouse. Wow.
But it saved us hours and hours of manpower, storage, 7 years worth of every
documentation.
Every documentation. Yes.
I don't remember
Well
approving
worth
that
it.
before. It just struck me. I was like, wow, we pay for that service too. What don't we pay for, huh? Any other questions on these items? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carry 8-0. Policy Committee, Mr. Means, you're just going to do a first reading, I think, right?
Yeah, there's one item under the policy committee, and that's a revision in the graduation requirements, number 217. And this policy is scheduled to be voted on at the September 23rd meeting.
So this will be our first reading, and we'll have our second reading at our September committee meeting, and then it would be potentially voted on then at our voting meeting in September, regular board meeting.
And let me just say that the changes in our policy are not significant, except they will address the Keystone exams as being a part of the graduation requirements. We will have those changes posted on our website.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And we have other. What are we doing here on other work?
The booster organization guidelines that were established by the athletic department.
So you're wanting us to move
It's
those?
just to
or what are we
publish the guidelines, and they will also be available to all of our booster groups and to the public on our website.
Mr. Means, will you take that as make that as a motion for me?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to approve the booster organizational guidelines.
Seconded.
Item 1 under Other, the approval of the booster organization guidelines. The ability to publish those guidelines has been moved by Mr. Means and seconded by Dr. Campbell. Any questions or comments on this item? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries 8-0. We are now to public comments. Any comment that anyone would wish to make to the board? You have 2 minutes at the microphone. Name and address, please.
Beverly Turner, Chris Road. I just have one question in regards to, I guess not rescue animals, but animals that are entered into the school to help children. Now, who is responsible for taking care of these animals? Is it the child, their family? Or are we going to have to, as a school, pay for another person to take care of them, take them out, get them water and stuff like that? That's a concern of mine.
Okay, we don't usually address questions, but I understand that there was an article in the paper, and
Right.
I'm sure that that brings the public's
Right.
attention to the fact that we do have a student who will be using an animal in the building. Mrs. Rose, do you want to address a little bit about that?
The dog is specifically trained that it doesn't have any true comfort needs other than maybe to be let out at lunchtime.
Okay.
And the rest of the day, the family is responsible for the care and keeping of the animal.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was a concern.
We don't house the animal here except.
Yeah, I know
for the
it's not
students
housed,
here.
but I thought, like some need extra care and all that other
No,
stuff.
no,
Okay,
it's
thank
pretty
you.
self-sufficient. He's
Great,
here to
thank-
be a helper.
Thank you.
Any other comments for the board?
Hi, Joe McKittrick on 5325 Park Avenue. I just have a comment about the extra duty responsibilities that you just voted on, and I'm wondering, how do you measure the effectiveness of those various people that run those clubs and boards or, after-school programs? Are there, are the number of meetings they're supposed to hold? Are they supposed to attend so many competitions? How do you determine what kind of job they do, and then whether they're getting put back into that position? Thank you.
That's a very good question, and one which board members oftentimes have had consistently. Mrs. Rose, would you like to address that?
Just for the record, all of our clubs and the athletics, obviously, you know how many times they meet and practice, but the club sponsorships are monitored by the building level principals. Roster's supposed to be kept. Each semester, a report on activities is submitted to the principal, and then that determines whether those activities have enough participation in order to be held again in the following year, or to be continued. It's not supposed to be Q&A, but if you have a comment that you want to
My
take.
comment was, that wasn't exactly my comment. I was asking about the people that run the program, not how many students are attending, but
Oftentimes, the people that run that you see on our extra duty responsibility that we approve, oftentimes those are contractual issues. So there's not much variance, I guess, shall we say, in
If you have a specific concern that you would like me to address with you privately, I'd be happy to do that. I don't want to get into anything that may become a contractual or a personnel issue at the microphone. Okay? So feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments this evening? I will move into board comments. Mr. Amaditz?
Well, I'm first.
I can't remember. I've lost my track.
Just two quick comments this evening. First of all, just for the service dog, just to add something. Irregardless of how anybody would feel personally about a dog in a school, if the child's disability warrants that being in there, we are mandated to put that animal into the building, no matter how we would feel on it. And I just wanted to add that comment in there. Anyway, and the second comment, and the last one, is I see a Boy Scout out there in the audience. Congratulations. I hope you enjoyed the evening. I hope you get credit for, and enjoyed the meeting. I hope you get credit for coming this evening, and hope to see you back here again soon.
Thank you. Dr. Campbell?
Thank you. It's only 6 days till the first day of students start school. That's always exciting. It's palpable. It's kind of like a buzz. You can feel it. Back to school shopping and all. And I got kind of reminiscent this past week, and I have a box that I keep in my closet. It's kind of like my memory box, but it's really more of a junk box than anything else. It would be of no value to anybody else. And I pulled out one item in particular, and it was a circular slide rule. And I showed this to my kids, and they didn't have a stinking clue what it was. Not a stinking clue. I also brought out like one of those little middles that go into a 45. They didn't have a clue what that is either. But there's really a point. Watch it. All right. But I just wanted to say that we've done a lot of discussion over the last number of months. Really working on this one-to-one project, the one-to-one initiative with the Chromebooks, you know, and bring that out into the schools. My circular slide rule was the cutting edge when I was in high school. You know, when I finished, it was the TA51 calculator from Scientific, American Scientific, I think, or who
Texas Instruments.
Texas Instruments.
Texas
There you go.
Instruments, that's right.
It even had like the little programmable strip, and I thought that was so stinking cool. And I used that all the way through college. I thought that was the best investment in the world. And a calculator at that time cost almost like $100. You know, it was a pretty exciting thing. But it's like, just to watch like the technology that's coming out with these Chromebooks and the things that could be done with it, you know, the scientific manifestations of it, like watching a DNA molecule, you know, coil, watching meiosis or mitosis take place. It's amazing. And we need to watch, you need to have those tools available for our students because this is their circular slide rule. So with that, I'm excited with this project, what's taking place. We've been able to do it incredibly financially. Great thanks to Ron for doing all the work he did on getting us the discounts that he did, you know, on the Chromebooks, and saved us really, literally thousands of dollars. So to the students in the upcoming year, to the teachers, the administrators, all the support staff, Carpe Annuum. Seize the year.
Seize the year.
Seize the year. Seize the year.
Thank you. Mr. Schubel.
Thank you. Just a comment to the community regarding the PlanCon issue. Someone who was maybe the largest proponent of the new high school in the building construction project, I'm as disappointed as anybody in the community as to those monies that are owed. What I would ask the community is to please get a hold of your state representative or state senator. We kind of need some help here, and I think that's, I mean, it's an embarrassment that we're owed that amount of money. We spent a lot of money in that high school project, and every dime was important. So I would encourage you to please get a hold of your state rep. If you don't know who your state representative is or state senator, feel free to get a hold of me. I'll walk you through that. And also, just a shout out to the kids coming back on Monday and to the staff, and I hope everybody has a good year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Rule.
The only meeting I've had this summer was Still Center. And of course, Still Center is an exciting time there because they are celebrating their 50th anniversary on September 2nd. And they've asked the governor to attend. We don't know if he's going to make it or not, but it's an exciting time. That school has undergone so many changes in all the years that I've been there that I'm really proud of the progress they've made and how they've made those changes. And I think before I leave the board, I think it's really going to be in a position that we're all going to be so proud of that school because they're going to make a dent in Pennsylvania's career and education training. So, but September 2nd, if any of you are available, you can come out and watch the festivities. They start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're going to have things going on all day until our meeting at night.
Great. Thanks. Mr. Spicuzza.
Is it July yet?
No, but would you attend that meeting back in July, please?
I think I attended that meeting by myself. So.
I think you did.
First of all, congratulations to you guys back there. Great job. Tremendous. I know that I can't believe I actually got to say that without someone else saying it first. So I was really kind of happy to do that. Really, congratulations. Thank you very much. New year starting. I'm looking forward to that. Should be an exciting year for us. There's a lot of new initiatives, and I had the opportunity yesterday morning to address the new teachers in the district, and I made a comment yesterday that it was great to see so many people in the room, and they beat you again. There were 7 of them, and we have 6 in the audience tonight. So we're working on that. I'm going to drill that all the time. I think it's great to see you. Congratulations to the Boy Scout. What level?
First class.
Good job. You got a little ways to go. Next time you can come back as an Eagle Scout. That'd be great. But I'm looking forward to a great year. Thanks to everyone for getting this thing off the ground, and it's Carpe something.
Thank you. Mrs. Buckley.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook. I would like to welcome everyone back for a new school year. It's hard to believe that the summer is over and school is starting. And also acknowledge the young man sitting back there, one of my former students. So if you need anything signed, honey, I'll sign it for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Who aren't your former students? I go places with every place we go, we run into someone that's our former student. Mr. Means.
Well, after Dr. Campbell told his story, I have to tell mine. I graduated from WVU in 1972. When I started, they didn't have calculators. In my senior year, they had come out with the first scientific calculator, and it cost as much as a semester's tuition as an out-of-state student. But This is a special time of the year. School starts on Monday, and everybody has high expectations. It's the only time of the year when all the students, all the faculty, and all the staff, everybody's on schedule. Nobody's behind. And everybody has high hopes, and I just wish the best to everybody, the principals, the administration, the teachers, and the students. Hope they have a good year.
Absolutely. And I get to do that again tomorrow morning when I get to meet and greet all of our staff and teachers coming back. But Mrs. Buckley and I took a time yesterday and went to the student training on the Chromebooks at IMS. So we got to sit in the audience and peer over the shoulders of a few former students of Mrs. Buckley's and watch them learn about Chromebooks. And I actually picked up a few tips, too, on how I can make labels and folders, and so that was great. And I look forward to hearing our reports on how that one-to-one initiative continues to roll out, so from the start. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.